Mechanics don't even get a thanks, they're just looked at as grease monkeys. Yet without mechanics, nothing moves, so honestly, mechanics deserve a hell of a lot more credit than they get.
How was it working as a mechanic in your younger days?
It was good and very rewarding. However, my body is now paying the price.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
Why mechanics are leaving the auto industry? Shops are short-staffed, wait times are getting longer. But you all remember when Ford CEO said this last year.
This morning when I woke up, there were 6,000 bays in our dealerships with no technicians. So can't get my car fixed. Nope. 2 weeks. Average wait is 2 weeks. Not because we don't have the parts, we don't have the mechanics. Factory workers, construction workers, farmers, all the people that move things, truck drivers, rail workers, and people fix things, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, all the people that basically work with their hands. Why is there a shortage of these workers? Well, it's a complicated problem, but there is, let's put it that way, literally 1 million openings right now. Technicians in dealerships working on cars. At Ford, we have 6,000, probably 400,000 repair technician shortages across the economy. First of all, the productivity has not caught up with the white collar. In fact, has gone down over the last 20 years. Number two, the jobs aren't as glamorous as a white collar job from college. And I think the permitting and all the regulations has really stunted the growth of these kind of jobs.
He mentioned so many other things out there while neglecting the monkey in the room, and which is part of what feminism has done. We won't get into that part because it has affected so many facets of our modern society. Few young people want to enter the trade, and this is not a small shift. It's been a growing problem across the entire industry. Why mechanics are leaving the auto industry comes down to pay, pressure, and how the job has changed. The demand for technicians is rising, but the number of people willing to do the job is falling.
This is heartbreaking. This is for technicians right here. I'm reading Wrenchway's Voice of the Technician survey from 2026, and they asked technicians if they would actually recommend their career to other people. Now, you and I both know that they typically won't, at least in my comment section, they definitely won't. And just looking at the trend here, now first of all, -60 is the score. Anything below 0 means that more people said they would not recommend the career of a technician than people said that they would. -60 is a really bad score, but here is where the story gets crazy. In 2024, it was -24. In 2025, it was -52. In 2026, it is now -60. For the last 3 years, it's been getting worse and worse and worse, and more technicians have been saying, I would not recommend this career to somebody else. In 2024, 21% of technicians said, I would recommend this career. In 2025, 12% of technicians said, I would recommend this career. And now in 2026, only 10% of technicians said they would recommend this career. That means over the last 3 years, which is serious, things have gotten so much worse that every single year, more and more technicians say, I wouldn't do this for a living if I were you. That's dismal. You should really check out this research. It's free. I'll put the link somewhere on here.
And the thing is, when I was back in the dealership environment a couple years ago, it was different. It's not like now. You don't have the same players anymore. Current dealerships are not run the way they used to be. Most dealerships now are for profits, which many business does. But at the same time, they had their own culture. The technicians who are complaining about the dealerships and refusing to work for certain dealerships, it's because of bad management or small shops that don't know what they're doing. Some smaller shops don't want to grow. They're working for someone who either micromanages the shop and is afraid of the shop getting too big that they can't handle it themselves. So they want to oversee everything. On the other hand, traditional dealerships are being absorbed by these large dealership groups that are just centrally focused on profiting and has no pulse on the feel of the employees that work for them. Now, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics projects about 67,800 job openings per year for the automotive service technicians throughout the decade. At the same time, many experienced mechanics are either retiring or leaving the field completely. So you have more jobs than people to fill. We're going to get down into what's driving that. But before we do, subscribe to the channel. You'll get real insight into the auto industry from the repair side. Just what actually happens in the shop.
If you want to become an automotive technician, just don't keep doing it. If that doesn't convince you, here's some tips. Me personally, I'd skip school. Right now, it's just an idea to you. It's not something you're really sure that you want to do, right? I see time and time again people come into this, realize it's, and then change their mind and go do something else and just keep this shit as a hobby. As you should. Get an entry-level job changing oil at any dealership. Dealerships are great for learning how to work on cars, apprenticeship programs, all of that, manufacturer training, tuition reimbursement, whole 9 yards. It's cool. Stay off the tool truck at least until you're making good money or you have a good idea of what it is that you actually need and not what looks good. When your tools do start needing an upgrade, Facebook Marketplace, eBay. Stay out of debt for as long as you possibly can. The tools that you're buying off the tool truck are tools that are going to directly make you more money or tools that you can't find anywhere else that you absolutely need, which is few and far between. Everything else, get it off Amazon, right? Shit like hog ring pliers. What, you're going to reupholster 3 seats in your entire career? Get Harbor Freight pliers for $20 instead of $70 Snap-on hog ring pliers.
And he's right. I remember working at one dealership. The Snap-on tool guy will roll up either on a Thursday morning or a Friday afternoon, and the mechanics will actually go there and purchase the tools from him, and he will sell them the tools on credit. That means their paychecks are going to be docked either weekly or a monthly basis to pay for those tools. Over time, the tools will add up. Special service tools are usually held by the dealership. The service manager will have those. But on top of that, if you're working at some dealerships, they actually have a tool audit done. The manager or the dealer principal will come around and inspect every single toolbox for every single mechanic inside there. And if they don't have certain tools, they will either be suspended or certain jobs will be held from them until those tools can be required. Those are some of the things that mechanics actually go through. No wonder some of them are angry, but they are still very good mechanics out there, and I respect what they do.
That. And then get okay with the fact that you're not going to make any good money for a while. You're going to eat shit. And it's okay. Your job is not to make money right now. It's to learn the business. It's to learn how to fix cars. That's it. While you're in that process, work your ass off. People that get moved up are people that work the hardest, not the people that know the most. Fact. And then after doing that for about 10 years and you start to hate yourself, go do something else.
Most mechanics, they work on flat rate. You get paid based on the booked hours, not the actual time work. If a job pays 2 hours but takes you 4, you still get paid for 2. Modern vehicles take longer to diagnose, and that means you often work extra time without extra pay. Over time, people are going to burn out.
Everybody tells you the good side about being a tech, but they don't give you the bad side of being a tech and the backstory about being a tech. So let me give you a scenario that's happening to me right now on the bad side of being a tech. Check this out. You see this RTN right here? I looked at this car back in September for a water leak, and it needed a door seal. Long story short, the seal was on back, so we had to order it. We ordered the seal. The seal came in November. The customer for this vehicle finally come back to get the repairs. So put in the new seal. That was the new seal. And as soon as I go to put it in and get everything in, see this? Whoop. Whoop. Yep. So when you go to close it, window goes up, fine. God, it's going to leak and it's going to have a window. So I had to order a new seal, spare part warranty out this seal, and that seal won't be here until Wednesday. The end of my pay period is on a Tuesday. I just wasted all my time putting this on, and then not to mention, also got to replace the carpet because there's mold in the carpet. So just wanted to give you and show you the bad side about being a technician. And those are one of the things that you have to deal with being in this issue, especially with being a flat rate technician who does not get paid for this job. It's so the job is done. So I'm shit out of luck. Have a good day.
And the thing is, some dealerships will actually pay him for the job done so that he has some money in his pocket. But on the other hand, as he says, he won't get paid until the job is done, and it's not his fault. A faulty part actually contributed to that. We mentioned about bringing your own tools. And those tools aren't cheap because a mechanic or a technician, they can end up spending between $10,000 up to $50,000 over time building a full toolbox. And that's money out of their pocket just to do their own jobs. Other trades often provide tools. In this industry, you carry that cost yourself. And as I often say, mechanics are one of the only profession where we can actually leave this particular trade and go to something else, electronics, HVAC, construction, and carry the same skill set along with you and get twice as much the pay.
Mechanicking has to be one of the hardest blue-collar jobs, especially diesel and heavy machinery mechanics. You're out there in the heat or in the freezing cold, covered in dust, mud, oil, basically whatever the day throws at you. You buy your own tools that aren't cheap, you work through your lunch break, and you're also severely underpaid. And somehow you're always the one who gets blamed when anything goes wrong. The boss blames you, the client blames you, and half the time the semi, dozer, excavator, haul truck were already holding on by a thread when you got there. But you still show up and get the job done. Sore, tired, covered in grease. Because when a machine doesn't start, suddenly everything starts going to shit. And then the worst part is when a client tells you the machine is down and I want this running right now. I don't care if it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I need you to get out here and fix this now. But then you get there and the machine is indeed running. And then they go, oh, don't worry. They'll be done using it in a second. Well, it just definitely had to get fixed right now, didn't it? But at the end of the day, mechanics don't even get a thanks. They're just looked at as grease monkeys. Yet without mechanics, nothing moves. So honestly, mechanics deserve a hell of a lot more credit than they get.
Another thing she didn't mention is that cars today rely on electronics, software, and network systems. A simple issue can require scanning modules, testing wiring, and updating the software. That takes much more time than older mechanical repairs. The training never stops for a mechanic. If you don't keep up, they all fall behind. The median pay for automotive technicians in the United States sits around $47,000 per year, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's not low, but it does not match the cost of tools, training, and the physical demand that comes with it. Other trades like electricians or HVAC often earn more with better working conditions, so people will switch career. This is one of the highlights of being a mechanic. You can always switch careers because you already have the experience.
Mechanics, society's most hated experts, because ignoring the problem was easier than paying for it. They don't fix cars, they fix the fallout from pretending nothing was wrong. By the time it shows up, the oil sludge, the brakes are metal, and the last guy who touched it was either drunk, guessing, or both. They're labeled crooks for charging too much, idiots for missing something, or lazy for not finishing it in an hour, depending entirely on which part of the story the customer is leaving out. Mechanics will spend an hour on a bolt they can't see, take a ratchet to the face twice, and still get asked what the hell is taking so long. Without fail, at some point in their career, they'll get asked for a discount by the same people who've never changed a filter in their life and think all mechanics should work for the love of the trade. They know your car better than you do, and they still have to kiss your ass to keep the lights on. So here's to mechanics, the grease-covered realists who hold this whole mess together while being told they're the problems. May your shop stay busy, your customers stay honest, and your next job come in with at least one bolt that isn't stripped to shit. Mechanics, society.
This job is hard on the body, as you're seeing there. It's totally physical. You lift parts, you work in tight spaces. You deal with the heat, the cold, and the long hours on your feet. Over time, injuries and fatigue will build up. Many mechanics leave before retirement because their bodies simply can't keep up anymore. Fewer young people are choosing this path. High schools push college over trades. Shop classes have disappeared in many areas. That reduces the pipeline of new technicians. The result is a growing gap between demand and supply. Customers, they want a quick service at a very low price, but modern repairs take more time and require expensive equipment. That creates tension in the shop. And the technician, they have to deal with the pressure from the customers and the management at the same time, and that stress adds up.
Truly do not understand why it's so damn hard to get a job. I don't understand. I really do not understand this right now. Like, this is people's livelihoods, you know? It's like you think you're doing everything right. You go to college, get a degree, you know, get your first job. That's all good. And then you're like planning for the future, to get married and buy a house and travel and do all these things. And I can't even get my foot in the door right now. I'm just literally drowned. And it's like, I know God hasn't forgotten about me. You're like, kid, what you doing?
There are so many more videos like this out there. Women making videos, crying, driving in their cars, talking about they can't get a job. And on the other spectrum, we're complaining that mechanics are walking away, and the very same mechanics are complaining that the job has gotten too hard. Let me show you another one.
You can't work a job because of your dog's separation anxiety. At that point, you are not going to survive in society. And there is no budget I can make.
My therapist has come to the recommendation that I not have a direct boss.
Girl, you're not going to survive. Everyone has a boss.
Do you?
Yes, the audience.
Uh-huh.
I have a boss. The platform that I'm on, I have to follow the rules and regulations, or else no money. Every month it is getting more competitive to get a remote job. More people are getting laid off in tech, and everyone wants a remote job. You are competing with the top of the top of the top. In-person is what gets you an income next week. We can get you an in-person job because you're not.
Job, where am I going to put my dog for an in-person job? She has severe separation anxiety, and she ate through my door.
You might have to surrender the dog if you cannot survive as a human being, because if you're not able to survive, they're not able to survive. You can't work a job because of your dog's separation anxiety. At that point, you are not going to survive in society.
It's called the septum ring theory, gentlemen. You see, there are bigger problems out there, so the grass is not always greener. You have something right now that people are demanding, but mechanics are leaving the industry. It comes down to a few clear issues that can be fixed. Flat rate pay, high tool cost, more difficult repairs, and a pay that does not match the workload. The industry needs skilled technicians, but the working conditions push many of them out. If this trend continues, repair times will increase and cost will increase because fewer people will be available to do the work. People like her will not do it. They don't want to do it. All they want to do is complain.
The job market in 2026 is complete shit. I know of so many people out here that are trying to find work, including myself, and no one will hire us. AI is slowly but surely going to take over, and within the next couple of years, they're most likely going to 100% replace all of us. And it's like a lot of us kind of hit this point of not really seeing the point, because we know if we work a job, we're just going to be trapped in this endless cycle of pain and misery and poverty. A lot of us have kind of just gotten to a point where we're saying screw it, doing our own thing, trying to figure out other ways to make money, other ways to make income, hanging by a thread, and just trusting that the universe is somehow going to guide us through all of this. Because after you spend a majority of your time on Indeed, putting in job applications, going through all these interview processes, and you never hear back from anybody, it just kind of makes you lose hope. And after you go through all these interviews and they offer you $14 an hour starting out, knowing it doesn't match the astronomically high cost of living, it genuinely makes you question, what is the point?
It's simple. You're going to have to roll up your sleeve. You're going to have to put your backs into it. And the men have walked away. They don't want to get married anymore. Now is the time to be strong and independent. And Jim Farley, here's your solution to the Ford mechanic shortage right now. Offer her a job. If you want more real insight into the auto industry, remember to subscribe to the channel. More breakdowns like this are coming. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. The links are in the description box below. Stay sharp, stay educated, and I will catch you in the next one.